we're back. Anywho, I said earlier that we would try to break this into two things, so this will probably be the second part. We've been going for 2.5 hours, which means we're probably going to be here for another 2.5 hours. I should probably check to see what this new quest is. Since we've been going for 2.5 hours, I guess it might also be a good time to say, hey, feel free to follow the stream or subscribe if you want to stay notified when I go live.
Looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
I won't bug you anymore. Let's just continue. Alright. Oh, she is here.
That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Shh. Stay quiet for now.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless apologies over and over?
Farina.
Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's just us.
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects, come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you? The tear stains on your face are obvious.
Just the... from ether.
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Opera House earlier this morning was so moving. I'm still trying to process it.
We're never gonna get through this airhead, are we?
Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were, disturbing my enjoyment of the arts? They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere to be found. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marche Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too.
Stop trying to act tough. You're actually beyond devastated right now, aren't you?
Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there!
Oh shit. Run!
Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person, aren't they? That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Farina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with her.
Damn, she doesn't run that fast, does she? Seriously, we're still running? They all hid together behind a crate, really?
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you.
What is this? this place.
Hurry, they're almost here!
Oh god. This was the trap they set up?
Fine, fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way.
We're gonna get her fucking accused of crime, aren't we? We're in a domain, aren't we? Oh, it's just a tiny little hut.
Paimon's exhausted.
I wonder how much energy it actually uses for Paimon to fly.
I'm so tired. I totally thought they had caught me. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
This place is not what I would call soundproof. You might want to lower your voice and stay hidden.
You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
Oh, I know what's going on. So we're gonna try to trick her into thinking the water level's about to rise a fuck ton, aren't we?
What's happening? The ground's shaking. Is it an earthquake?
Well, the disaster just struck, I suspect.
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Novelette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go a lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already...
Finally reached her limit. Now that she's talking about her actual feelings, she's starting to look a little less stiff. Alright.
It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years.
Hundreds, you say?
I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me.
That's how they've discovered that we were on our way to Fontaine. The weird suspicious guy that looks nothing like me, I swear.
I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled.
But even then, you still haven't given up, right?
Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but also for me to finally be free.
But that would also mean all hope would disappear.
Indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, and so many people have already lost their lives.
They're not really dead, though. They're kind of just shifting into another state of being.
But just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate on behalf of everyone else.
That being said, if I suddenly turned into water, I don't know if I'd be too happy about it.
As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late.
Speaking of which, isn't there a doomsday clock in the Narzenkreuz Ordo?
Don't worry. I will keep hope alive for everyone until the very end. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all.
I want to hit her with a frying pan. Is that a normal human emotion?
Don't take any of what I
I
just
love
said
hating
seriously.
her. It's fun.
How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of trivial prophecy?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest just now.
Running out of time. We can't just go back to the square like this. I have to get more information out of her. Farina, you might not have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, your people are more than willing to share the burden with you.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you could still choose to confide in someone. Share it with me. I'm what you might call a witness.
A witness? Yes. I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here.
Wait, how many people know about the Beyond the Stars part? And a witness is what, Zhongli asked us to be during his, character quest.
And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case...
That ... makes me think we're about to get cut off. There's no time left. Please, Farina, just spit it out. Ooh, cutscene. Here we go. Something. Spit it out. Another one. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Thank you, Lenny.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to trial?
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
She ain't gonna do that, is she?
You would draw your blade against a god?
Yes. I would. Wouldn't you?
I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
She's defenseless. She's like a wimp. Arlecchino could have killed her with her fingers.
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh. It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you.
Ah, shit, we're reading minds again.
Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera Ep94 is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
I like Farina's design. I don't like her coattails. That's the only part about it I don't like. It feels too frilly and too asymmetrical on purpose.
Woohoo!
Of course.
Oh, now we're making history.
God, what's with the audio mixing in this chapter?
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Oh boy. Thank you, Your Honor.
Is that so?
Darn. I was
Very
hoping for the Kano.
Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and fated opponent.
Great, that just means it's super public now that everyone knows that we're not from this planet. We're so close to getting her to tell us the truth, and it still turned out like this in the end. It's okay, though. As long as we can defeat Farina and Kurt, we still have a chance to figure out everything.
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins. Just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Surprisingly, not much.
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates.
Aha!
They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you.
Funny.
The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean, the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontainian history.
I'm still more impressed. Actually, you know what? This is pretty impressive. They got a box to go from Poisson to here without us noticing inside. That's impressive. Fuck, I take it back. I was going to contradict that, but you know what? I convinced myself.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Ep94, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome? That's probably what I would say if I was her.
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
You made a fucking tunnel from Poisson to here for a fucking... Jeez, that's intricate.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Sorry about that. We deceived you back there.
then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Very intricate, very detailed. I love it.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would accept a duel with an Archon without flinching.
I hope when Clorand gets unlocked as a playable character in maybe like 2 updates from now, that it really just makes Furina's kit look like babby stuff.
Thank you.
As for you,
I actually don't
Traveler,
even know what her kit
I
does.
suppose your role was to keep me distracted with conversation once you found me in Poisson.
I actually still don't know what Furina's kit even does. I haven't even looked at it. I haven't watched any of her trailers or demos either.
You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage.
You guessed wrong.
Oh?
My mission was to give you one last chance. We hoped that you'd share your secret with us before the magic box arrived onto the stage.
Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
The only thing we can do now is judge the Hydro Archon. Still, I can't help but be a little bothered by the conversation earlier. What did Furina want to say right before we arrived on the stage?
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Ooh, thank you, Charlotte!
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte!
I did spot her.
Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it, huh? Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine! So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument!
It's a very super practical gift. I never would have thought of using it this way.
Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
Alright.
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right.
Thanks, Charlotte.
I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. I guess you could also see this as a happy coincidence. This is the first time Monsieur Nervilette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it out. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must mean something.
During the diplomatic meeting. You can read all of this in your own free time. I'm just going to listen to Charlotte's quotes.
The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. That I didn't witness that scene personally will always be a source of professional regret, I think. According to Monsieur Nervilette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time.
The ruins.
I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers.
The Court of Fontaine.
The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
We shared that information? I can't believe we shared that with Charlotte. We talked about N?
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese.
And there's no need for you to take the tone of voice with me.
Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon.
Ooh, interesting.
Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Ooh, that's a stiff charge.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
That is quite the accusation. An accusation that has actually been shared by many people in the community for a while.
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted.
Excuse me.
Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge?
Of course not. Oh, she hesitated. You should have said no. I do not.
Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
No gnosis?
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory.
By the way, has that chair always been up there?
See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
Huh. An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
The people only see you as their Archon because that's their long-held belief?
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am?
What do they call those things? The hydro thingies that just make memories of people.
And if I was not the Archon, then how did I
Eidolon.
manage to live for over 500 years?
You could be a Hydro Eidolon. How do we know, what do we know to be special about Farina exactly? Oh, we could talk about the meeting with the knave. Why can Farina live so long despite being she's human? Meeting with the knave. Let's go with that. The knave's been around for 400 years.
You may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Paimon, the Traveler is also over 500 years old. Such as a curse.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
What doesn't matter who gave us the information, what matters is the veracity of the claim.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Neverlet?
So, Farina, instead of the Archon, could you be a cursed human?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Although some of them can take multiple forms, like Zhongli. Or should I say Rex Lapis. Rex Lapis? Assassinated?
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being?
It doesn't.
Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods.
Cool, where's your gnosis?
For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
That one trial proved opposite. Farina actually has no control over the Oratrice at all. There we go, child's conviction.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an explanation.
Well, there is for this trial, so get on with it.
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
I never thought you would be so dumb to think he wouldn't.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
Or at least Egeria.
The real Hydro Archon. Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
But you can't claim that it's your creation, though.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
Miss Farina, could you give us a brief demonstration of your power as an Archon?
My power as an Archon? There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
No gnosis.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
A brief demonstration of your power over a Hydro should be quite harmless. Surely the Archon can at least match the capabilities of a human with a vision.
Ooh!
can't even do that much?
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium!
That feels like it was pulled out of your ass.
Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Do I want to give Venti credit? Nah, no I don't. Ah! For instance, the Akasha was by... Oh god, wait, no, people don't remember Ruka Devata. Shit, there was this device called the Akasha that worked similar... No, wait, fuck, I'm defending her argument. Never mind. Forget I thought or said anything.
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Oof.
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
Hey, Marco!
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me?
I'd believe you if you said that with a little bit more conviction, and if it didn't sound like you half made it up as you were talking.
Please? You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Damn, this guy has no faith.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Uh-oh.
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is?
Kavrena? Egeria?
If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such,
Linny's trial,
then
the
what
girl in the
grounds
Oratress.
have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up.
If we can't prove that isn't the real army, we can try to prove that she's just a human, and if she's only a human... What evidence can we prove that Hirena is human? I guess this dissolves matters.
It has been established that all Fontainians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate all suspicions of you being the latter.
That is true.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
God, what a stickler.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater?
Ooh.
If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
It's valid, but very unprecedented.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontainian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
She's gonna do it, right? Damn, that's a big vat. Farina?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
But it would be as much as an admission of some guilt.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
Thank you for saying what I already said.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does seem like she's quite terrified of it. That could only mean...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... that's not what we thought she would...
Did you guys literally think she wasn't the Hydro Archon?
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey!
She actually did it! I have the feeling she wasn't really sure that that would work.
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water! Really? Was this not the most obvious thing in the world?
Actually, this only proves that you're not human.
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewien? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewien.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Farina, you may return to the defendant's stand.
Actually, this doesn't prove as much. It actually proves that she might just be not Fontainian.
Oh wait, what did she just say? I didn't get dissolved! Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur...
Oh, she would have dissolved.
We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Oh, fuck. You are so screwed.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... You...
Yeah, you nearly killed yourself on stage. But what's really going on here? Farina can't not have known the consequences of touching the water as a human. This is too unlike how she usually acts, unless it's actually more important for her to keep up her facade in order to save her own life. But hadn't she given up on everything a long time ago?
Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks! What happened just now didn't prove a single thing!
All it proves is that you can be affected by the seawater. That's the case you should... Why am I defending her?
Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater?
Nahida, can you come up to the stage, please?
Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water?
That's fair. That's a fair point. Ooh.
Please, everyone.
Oh, she's crying.
Everyone, just listen to me. I swear.
I'm enjoying this too much.
I am your Archon.
Ah, the Schadenfreude. Ah, the Schadenfreude. It brings me such joy.
think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
God. I was gonna say this is a tough crowd, but this is an easy crowd. I thought it would be really hard to try to get people to convince people that the god they've been worshipping for 400 plus years isn't their god. This is going way too good.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina to win.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
Uh-oh. Come on, Farina, you can't give up that easily, right? Uh-oh.
Anything she says at this point will sway her. She's too stacked against her now.
Come on, there's gotta be something you can do, right?
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens.
Oh, this is
Farina
all an illusion.
is guilty.
Oh, God. Trailer shot. Where'd the music
We shall now
go?
turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges.
Oof. Oh, hang on. Well, let's get our Star Rail rollout going.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Uh-oh.
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
It can't be. Did the Oratrice declare Farina to be innocent?
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
It has a weird sentence on it, doesn't it?
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty.
Excuse me?
To be punished via the death sentence.
Excuse me?
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
I thought they got rid of that.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Oh no, don't you M. Night Shyamalan me now, game.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah, even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
What's more strange is instead of Farina, the Oratrice rendered the judgment as on the Hydro Icon.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Things are getting complicated.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt.
You have news from it?
Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Some help from the other Fatui. Fremine brings the stone slate to the stage. You found it!
That the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water. But has the trial already concluded? Then Doesn't that mean I've come too late? Oh no. Father will be disappointed in me.
I mean, I've never been disappointed with you. I've been disappointed in Hoyo for not getting you enough screen time. Anywho, don't worry, the mystery hasn't been resolved yet. It's not too late for you to shine.
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Alright. Navia, would you like to come up too? You've seen the other slates.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
This looks like the previous Hydra Archon releasing her divine power, turning the Oceanids into human beings.
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
An association between the contents of the slates and the events of real life.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you remember.
Excuse me? Select and check the descriptions of the stone slates to extract key information from them. You can find scenarios related to the stone slates, contents, and the incidents recorded by the interview notebook. There you can verify said content. The verification process continues. The fountain water level in the menu interface will rise. When you have finished verifying the stone slates, the truth behind the prophecy will be revealed.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydra Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans.
And then the Primordial Sea can turn them back. Power of the Primordial one, maybe?
Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that.
I was.
But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydra Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon sin are the same thing?
Everybody sinks.
The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
Alright. The stone slate... it seems to show the former Hydro Archon using divine power to verify truth.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontainians can be dissolved in primordial seawater. And the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve.
Alright. Humans who turn into Oceanids. The fact that Fontainians can dissolve into primordial seawater, becoming Oceanids, is proof of their origin. Alright. Celestia in the sky, Hydro Archon, judgment down upon them. After the court perceived Farina was not the Hydro Archon, the verdict displayed the Hydro Archon guilty to be punished via death sentence.
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Neuvillette mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, has recorded on the stone slates.
Hydro Archon who was sentenced to death. The sentence never before passed in the Court of Judgment has been handed down to the Hydro Archon. Just what kind of sin merits the verdict? The stone slate showing prophecy describe a history of the future. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea, surrounded by many people. The entrance to the Primordial Sea is sealed beneath the Forbidden Zone of the Fortress of Masquerade. Navia fell into the water containing. Only the protection of the dead members of the Spina di Rosula prevented her from dissolving.
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
God, that's depressing. Navia fell in the seawater. Alright. Basically, yada yada yada. Stone. Only the Hydro Archon will remain and weep.
That doesn't sound quite...
Alright. Well, I mean, N is correct, though. It was only temporarily pushed back by Neuvillette's power. Though Neuvillette believed Child to be innocent, the Orchis charged him guilty. In the end, even Farina didn't know why.
That doesn't...
Well, there's only one left.
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Masquerade was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontainians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Masquerade was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truths should come to light.
Alrighty. Now what?
Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Let's hear them.
The first slate reveals that the Fontainians are not real humans.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontainians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontainians could dissolve in primordial seawater, And how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
The second slate reveals that the crime of the Hydro Archon was her creation of the Fontainians from Oceanids.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
Oof.
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the opera Ep94. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
As for the third slate, I'm still convinced it should come after the fourth.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate?
The fourth slate depicts the fulfillment of the prophecy as it's already widely known.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion.
Alright.
Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
Alright. Show me the memories.
Well? Did you get it?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you.
Are we about to get a cutscene?
Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race.
There's that word again, heavenly principles.
And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
Makes the genealogy of that weird, and how does it happen with people of mixed races? So if like someone from Sumeru and someone from Fontaine had a kid, how does that work?
That's way too much information for me.
I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing.
That's probably for the best.
Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct.
So they are in the right order? What's the third slate supposed to represent, then?
A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is
the trial of the Hydro Archon.
That the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice.
Oh, motherfuckers! We suckered ourselves into following the prophecy.
Yes, it refers to our present situation.
The end is nigh. The end is nigh.
What you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
Feels like there's no way out of this.
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it feels like to be a prisoner of fate?
Fuck fate. Let's do it my way.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate, you probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Masquerade served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes? However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
Wait, could it be the whale? The ultimate proof.
This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
That doesn't sound...
Oh, come on, it has to be. Afflicted with a curse? The whale in the dream. There we go.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The whale. It's the whales that ruined Genshin. We always knew this to be true.
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Farina, you still sitting up there crying? You'd want to contribute to this conversation at all? Uh-oh. Wait, I recognize that theme. That's Tartaglia's theme. time no see, child. Child, you want your vision back? That's not good.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
That's right. I'd wager it's also the one that Child saw when he was young.
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here.
The prophecy shall be fulfilled.
That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontainians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontainians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
I haven't had any opportunities to bring this up, but Child, has so many fucking death flags. This might be the final end for him.
It is too late.
What do you mean?
It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's just not fair.
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance should end.
Farina, would you like to participate?
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
I don't think any of you can help. I think if it touches you, you all instantly die.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Everything, it still turned out like this. We couldn't fight against fate. But if this is all about fate...
Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. All you need to do is to play your part.
Well, time to go fight a whale. Could it be that even if the prophecy will be fulfilled, there will still be a way to save everyone? Did I miss something? See, there's the girl and the oratress. There's whatever Farina's role is. Wait, I forgot Farina. What was it she was going to say to me at the last moment in the giant magic box? What was her real secret? I keep asking. Oh, the oratress is going to do something.
What's happening with the Oratrice?
It's doing something.
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Furina! No, I still need answers.
The girl in the Oratrice. Does it matter? Uh-oh. Lady Ythyma? Something's happening. That's a quest complete. Final act? It's time for the finale, I guess.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
There's some Sumeru parallels here.
You are not Furina. Who are you?
Egeria, maybe?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor. Why did you deceive us?
Why are the chairs floating? I just noticed.
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
Shouldn't be too hard. I'm getting some Steins Gate vibes here. Fate can be tricked.
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum.
I mean, if you die, technically it can't come true. Because there's no Hydro Archon alone on the throne to weep if the Hydro Archon dies before that.
I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up.
We had quotes from Egeria in the Fontaine trailer for 4.0.
But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known.
Where am I? Where are we?
After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you
A lot of
now
parallels
is
to
that divinity.
Nahida.
And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be.
Ugh.
Anyway, so then I cursed her.
You could want to be better.
All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydra Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass.
Uh-huh.
I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Ep94.
Oh, god damn it, it's a fucking pun!
Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
She's a baddie.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years. And all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely,
Uh-oh, we're fading to black.
and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Meanwhile, back in the present. Are we cutting back to the present? It's just cutscene central right now. I came into contact with Farina's tears. If I remember correctly, the tears often contain the being's strongest emotions. With sufficiently strong hydrosensitivity, I can form an emotional connection just like I did with the Oceanid and the Fountain of Lucine. Is this Farina's inner world? What is she doing on stage? Wait a moment. Probably isn't Farina. It's likely a reflection of her inner self. If I can directly speak to that self, I might be able to easily get what I wanted to know. I came here for answers. Either way, this opportunity is not to be missed. Let me try talking to her. God, I don't know. This is probably going to be the worst aspect of herself. God, I gotta put the stairs all the way fucking over here. The opera of Noirceur and Blancheur.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the rules.
Farina?
All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance.
Don't look at me, don't look at me. I don't see an audience here.
Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it?
Just let the stage lights go off, even if for just 1 second.
I am Focalor. The eyes of countless
That way I can become
Fontanians are
myself
upon
again.
me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility.
Something's off. There's no getting through to her. Even at her heart of hearts, she's still playing the role of the Hydro Archon. What sort of resolve must she have for even her inner self and subconscious would have been such an impenetrable defense? I have to find a way. Turn off the light.
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Ugh.
Speed of light. Nowhere to hide.
Propagate!
Gotcha.
Let the show begin.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me,
Silence
you
without
know.
end. Chains.
Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Gotcha. So all the spotlights turned off in Farina's heart. They must symbolize the eyes of the other people on her. Speaking of which, I think I just received some sort of signal. Is that her true voice? Ticket. When did that get here? I've got a golden ticket. Man, looks like the show is about to begin. Show me how you truly feel, Farina. Oh shit. Scene 1, before the mirror. Farina. Oh god. Oh, I'm controlling her. Neat. I can't walk or run. I still think the coattail is a little weird.
Farina. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Oh, wait. I know. I think. I don't know why, but it's in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Oh, very good. You know it well.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly. The only thing I know for sure is this prophecy. Will it really come to pass?
I wonder if this is an event that actually occurred, or if this is just, allegory.
Yes, It will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later. Things will develop just as the prophecy declared. There is no escaping it.
We've almost been going for 4 hours now.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too?
Probably.
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, you frightened me. You spoke so much and with so much certainty. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to suffer?
Just 'cause.
But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in this world, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt?
You truly are the perfect human, my ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Interesting.
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role, that of the new Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity.
God, did she do a shit job of that?
If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
Very interesting.
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. I'll try to do this. So, how long am I going to have to play this role?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
That's a lot of ifs. That's a big promise.
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it.
Scene 2. A session speech. Farina. I can't see me in the audience. Oh, I guess I gotta walk all the way to the back. Because I don't think I can jump. Nope, I can't jump.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession. but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Perhaps I should first try to act natural.
Summon courage.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Ep94. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Verena de Fontaine, your new Archon.
Appear earnest.
In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of fairness and justice.
Close politely.
Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. The future of Fontaine will require us to work together, after all. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my thoughts just fine.
This is so weird.
And next.
That's the new Hydro Archon.
Uh-oh.
Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Oh god, this is what's gonna create her fucking hostile and ugly personality.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her and an ordinary person, then?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-back puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Oh, this is bad. If I get exposed here, there'll be no saving the people from the prophecy. Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be.
Interesting.
Calm down, Verena. Think. What do the people want? How would they imagine a god to speak and act?
Oh god. I mean, no.
Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. That is the character I'm fated to play.
And thus a persona was born.
Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule.
Ugh.
Now, I was wondering, if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self, here in this opera house.
Never seen anyone use the term my august self.
You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
It isn't. It's worse.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful. Our future may yet be bright after all.
God. If y'all worship gods like this, I don't want to meet you.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech.
Resolutely with conviction.
My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin.
Turn up the drama.
The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its god. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause.
God, this is... She had to keep this up for 500 years? That is worthy of applause, but it's also worthy of me going, ew.
May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of Fontaine.
And empathetically,
there is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Ep94, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
I think it's kind of weird that the previous Archon who committed a sin was even allowed to choose a successor. You would assume that Celestia got to pick the next Archon. Alright. Scene 3, Opera House, Farina. Oh, I can run! I still can't jump. Or I guess saunter is more accurate to what I'm doing.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now. Was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Noirceur. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
The one she's looking forward to the most is her own trial. What a twist.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to end all things. How could you hope to understand?
That's true. I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
500 years later. Actually, Noirceur's only been around for 400, right?
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable consequence of my divine charm.
I get the point. Now I feel like this is just dragging on.
All right. Deuteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you, and to bring your words back to him.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to citizens' homes every so often, while not usual practice, should serve as a fine change of pace.
I'm just gonna put it on auto at this point.
And wise God. Thank you.
Get your popcorn, people. This is gonna take a while. Oh shit, what? Gameplay. How dare you interrupt me with gameplay? Ah. Oh god, it's so far away and I can't sprint. Books. Yes.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of, I'm afraid things still don't look good.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it.
Ugh.
All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water levels.
Oh yeah, so let's use Archeum to levitate everything above the water level. That'll work out great.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution thus far.
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods, after all. Still, their spirit is praiseworthy.
Okay. There's a bed. Is this the sick kid?
The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion.
Arlecchino, I guess.
Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going, and everyone will be saved. Alright, Farina, don't think too hard about this. You need rest. Tomorrow's a new day.
Scene 4, Opera House, Farina.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. There's no need to go back over scenes I've witnessed in person before.
Lady Farina, I've waited
Oh boy.
so long
Like I
for
said,
chance
this
to
is a
see
big
you in
problem
person.
that Genshin has with a lot of its storytelling, is it really loves to drag things out to make them longer.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
She kept up this charade for 500 years. I already know that, and you've dragged this on for about 15 to 20 minutes. Let's move on, please.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about.
There's plenty to worry about. Don't do that.
These days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
Alright, Opera House Farina, Scene 5. Okay. I think we're speeding it along. This is good. Scene... Oh boy, how many... That's a lot of numbers. God!
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Dioteria, almost 20 generations ago.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer, a descendant of a line most ardent.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Farina. My lady?
She's crying.
What is it, good citizen?
Oh, are you crying?
Uh-huh. Oh, really now? I didn't even notice.
Ah, she misses people when they die, doesn't she? One of the taxes of living so long.
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have witnessed it. Honored indeed.
The charade continues.
So interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer?
Now, if I remember correctly, there was an Easter egg hidden in Act 1/2 of the Fontaine Archon quest. If you went into the Fountain of Lucine, you actually heard this exact line, I believe.
Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. Today I didn't even notice my own tears. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. But there's not even a sliver of hope that we might break the prophecy. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act. It is the only way to save Fontaine. Please, mirror me. You have to succeed.
Ugh. This is kind of depressing. God, I wonder if she had gotten somebody to help her through this. If how things would have been different. 182376. Farina and... Oh, I think we're finally catching up to current events.
You don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Yeah, that's my voice. Is this scene from when we were in the giant magic box? Oh, this is great. I didn't think this scene would really replay in the inner world. Surely I'll find out what she wanted to tell me this time.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
A witness? Yes. I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I?
There we go. God, this almost went way differently.
But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the price. No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself first for once. Just this once.
Darn, and hard to believe that that might have been the right decision, too. Oh, she's gotta be fucking dying inside.
Is it
oh wait,
such
we are
an
inside.
outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? Surely it could not hurt.
If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again.
It won't.
Think about it. Long and hard.
She didn't have time to think about it. She didn't have time.
No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina, the Archon of Fontaine. Everything will surely get better.
But things are gonna get a lot worse before they get any better.
All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Oh, hang on. Are we swapping places with him? Oh.
Fine.
Yikes. That was some good delivery of one word.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth?
We're about to hit
You've
2.5
never
hours
once
again.
let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along.
Darn. Did I predict that way back in the first Archon quest?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
Wow.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice.
To destroy the throne.
But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority has been, had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all a part of your plan then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice.
500 years of accumulated power.
But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
And to think Nahida bluffed to do this same thing in front of the doctor.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, You must be...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
Interesting. Did I predict that? I don't remember if I did or not. I don't think I did. I'll be humble and assume I didn't.
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked.
I feel like a lot of it was unnecessary. I feel like you probably could have done this in other ways.
Hydro Dragon, Hydro Dragon.
Oh god.
Don't cry.
This fucking thing.
I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime?
They are.
Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed.
To do the same thing, if I remember correctly, if before Sun and Moon is to be believed.
I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on, that should be the justice enthroned over all others.
Okay. Go on.
At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
You at the end shall be able to judge Fontaine.
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
And to think, you only disagreed with the Oratress twice? Or once? So what was the deal with the child thing, then? Can we explain that? Why was he guilty? Did you just meet him in Meripede?
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound
big
it,
sword.
but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Neuvillette.
Well,
I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Ah, there's the music again. I'm getting Ruka Devada flashbacks. This is gonna end same with Lenny's performance. The big drop. Here it comes. I hope you all had your taken off hats ready for that. Thank you, Farina, for all you've done. From this moment on, please live happily as a human, just as I wished we could. Oh, man. That's so sad.
I, Iudex Noirceur, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Now what? We still have to deal with the whale, though. God, I knew this was going to be like a 5-hour stream from the beginning. Maybe I should have cut it at the 3-hour mark instead.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Yes.
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry.
You obtained power just now?
Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice.
You mean me?
The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast that enacts the prophecy.
Wait, I have the green things.
Its name
I'm not
is
blue
the
anymore.
All-devouring narwhal.
The all-devouring narwhal.
Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
There is no longer a Hydro Archon. Alright. It's time to defeat a Genshin whale. I guess it's not a Genshin whale, because it's technically from beyond the stars. An all-devouring narwhal.
Execute it? But how are we going to do that? It's huge!
I've already done my best to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from the whale. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Got it. Maybe I should just...
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Oh, that music is loud as fuck. Holy crap. I don't want to get close to it. Destroy the eye of something or other. Oh, that's not good.
Don't blink.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility, and the chance will present itself.
I think it's angry. That's not good. Oh, what the fuck is going on with that music? And it's lagging like hell.
Why is there a hole-looking thingy over there? It looks very scary.
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Ow.
Manifest the authority of the ancient dragons. Witness the might of the primordial sea.
No one escapes my sight. That's cheating.
Scatter!
Uh-oh. Something's happening. Cutscene. Is it over yet? All we did was break its shield. Hi? Hi. What is your deal?
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3 million times as penance.
Okay. Your master's pet?
Power. Who are you exactly?
So you must be Skirk, I imagine?
Hyman has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. So you may speak to me as equals.
What sort of person would take the all-devouring narwhal as a pet?
I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Cool. Who's your master?
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed the point.
The point being?
Who the fuck is your master?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation. So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master. Wait, is that right?
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sertologi.
Who? Who the fuck is that?
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Foul?
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
The Foul?
The Sinner, maybe?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfilnir then? Or Gold Rhindaughter?
Oh my fucking god, really?
Ooh, that one we've heard. Rhindaughter's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhindaughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
So your master is an associate of Rhindaughter's. Your master is a member of the Hexen Circle?
Wait, didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't quite catch their name.
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
There's so little to be surprised about, Paimon. It is natural, after all. The prophecy will surely come true. We knew this and accepted it. However...
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne.
Yikes.
Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
A lot of good visuals in this Archon quest. You know, if Fontaine is above where Sumeru is, wouldn't this put Sumeru underwater?
Hey! Help! Over here!
What is going on? There it is! Risley's plan!
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry! Hey, lend a hand!
Promenade, what are you doing? Gotta free the trapped people.
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
It's a really happy moment, but I'm still sad about everything else that went down. everybody who got turned into Osinids. What's gonna happen to them? They're not dead, but we keep treating them like they are. Help, I am under the water. Please help me. That was something else. I do not have a Wisa unit, or a Numa unit, or however they work. Feels annoying having a boss tied to that mechanic. I hope they don't do that in the future. I still don't really understand fully how that works. The whole Wisa Nuema annihilation reaction thing. For those who watched like the bonus episode that I put on YouTube for the both Brains and Bronze event, I go into it in a little bit detail there. I barely understand how it works. It feels like they wanted to add in another couple of elements but decided not to, and it's like really arbitrary. Where am I? Oh, okay.
The Solo renewed. The Spina di Rasula attacks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the Spina di Rasula, and we spoke about Poisson's present and future.
We're in the epilogue now.
Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small cookie when you're starving late at night. You just need a little of it. Skyship Winglet, Booner Brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute, with Jurier turning out to be a once overlooked hidden gem. People always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder to find a word with which to classify him and his team. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jurier and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
They might have been real big shots from the start. We just didn't see them in that capacity.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With the disaster just having passed, we would print a free edition packed to the margins with good news to calm people down.
That's really noble.
The value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further reports and go into the stories behind those people. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home. I'm sure that these stories could draw even your well-traveled eye.
The articles make me curious about how things will play out.
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen from start to finish? What's there to be curious about?
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news, if you haven't noticed. And also, with you around, I'm sure I'll get to see that Duke.
Are you sure? Hasn't he turned you down several times already?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to Poisson first, and then make a trip to the fortress. There are some things you'll only know when you get there.
Okay, I still have so many unanswered questions. So we're in the finale now. To Poisson! To the Spina di Rasula headquarters. This has been fun. Very in-depth and interesting. So there's no longer... So are we going to call them the Towers of the Six from now on? Who's that?
Navia!
Oh, it's you. What brings you all here?
Hey, gonna look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here. Oh, the Fatui are here too.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount of supplies, and is helping with our work.
I'm so sorry for your losses. The Snezhneviches are some of my favorite characters in this entire story.
Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely. We've lost a lot of people, but we're moving forward. That will have to be enough.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about Fontaine's stray cats.
We have a stray cat problem everywhere, don't we?
But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to share the same interests as the Spina.
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature as friendly neighbors?
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another hour before the workers are able to go over there.
Huh? You're here too, Clorinde?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson to wait out the heat.
Oof.
All right. She really came here to help me out.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision makers. And, well, I do already happen to be connected to Mr. Callis.
I really wish we got to meet Callis. He sounds like such a cool character.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel, about what it was like facing down a god. There's lots of exciting material there, I bet.
That's the thing, though. She wasn't a god.
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than that, Miss Charlotte.
I see you're the same as always. Couldn't you do me a favor, for Navia's sake?
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me. Or of the Traveler. It's better than wasting time persuading Clorinde, at any rate.
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up. And smile.
There we go. A nice photo for the ages.
How did it go? Was it a good shot? Did Paimon look cute in it?
Yes, you always look cute.
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots.
Oh boy.
All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
Are we gonna get our 4 questions at the end that we do with every one of these Archon quests?
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news, and freshness is the key. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows? I might eventually get that interview with you after all, Miss Clorinde.
Wow, you really do have that never say die spirit. I'm impressed.
How many years have you been trying to get that Risley interview?
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Maripede.
You already knew she was going?
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin, who told Monsieur Neuvillette, and he told you, right?
That's a very complete information chain.
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did the fortress become so friendly towards the media? I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that Risley will make a personal appearance.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case, I'll be making a move first.
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything interesting. I'll treat you to afternoon tea in exchange.
Okay. Well, we caught up with everybody here.
You seem curious about the fortress.
Of course. That Risley. I still remember going down to the fortress to grill him for information on my father's case. Boy, did he take me for a ride. Without telling me anything, of course.
But he did invite you to tea, didn't he?
2 large pots of it, in fact. It was good tea, though.
God, it's always tea with that man.
I have to agree. The tea there is very good.
Ah, speaking of that, would you like to have some today? I mean, you've got time, right?
Well, I'd be partial to some shortbread.
Wow, it's like we've got a menu or something. Sure.
I know how you feel, Grunt. I'm here too.
Good.
What flavor of biscuits would you like, Mr. Snezhovich?
Me? I'm fine with anything. But I would prefer chocolate, should you have it.
All right. Leave it to me.
I'll go over the newly arrived supplies with you later, Mr. Snezhovich. We should be able to finish the preparatory work today.
That works great for me.
Huh. Is it just me, or did you get a new lipstick?
Did she?
I did. It was a gift from Sijuin. Want to give it a try? I think the color would suit you, too.
Okay, where are we going next? Fortress of Maripede. To the administration area. So we gotta check in with everybody at the end here. We passed the 5-hour mark. This has been a long one. Quite the journey we've made.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic feeling to this place.
Looks like you've been missing us.
I have.
Did you come all the way to the entrance to greet us?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head nurse recommended to me.
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for consenting to my visit to the fortress, sir.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview. I trust you recall our agreement?
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Jiryu! Are you two a couple? Are we gonna finally settle this matter?
Hey, no need to be so nervous. I've already taken all the photos we need. Miss Charlotte, do these pictures really need to be published on the cover of the Steambird?
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear beside that of Mr. Jurier,
Sir, please don't say things like that.
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it. Might this interview be very important to you, then?
No, I just... This is my first time being interviewed, and I'm very thankful to the Steambird for...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed chatting with you more. You've definitely got more of that genius vibe going on. The boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Why, you recreated a myth back there, like an emissary of legend. Still, if I might ask, where's that flying ship now?
Huh! Looks like Charlotte's trying to get herself another exclusive scoop.
Hi, Wassler.
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to get a shot of it.
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an interview with you to make up for that loss?
She really doesn't know how to squeeze any opportunity for all they're worth.
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of this couple of researchers?
Couple of researchers?
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
They have to be dating, right? They're totally an item.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. We've seen this kind of thing before. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this new drink I came up with?
I would love to try this Melusine cuisine. How bad could it be?
Ah, Sigewinne.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Why don't you, take some pretty photos of our head nurse? Sure. Come on, Miss Sigewinne. Over this way. Let's find a brighter spot.
Sure. Do I have to smile?
Yes. Well, no, I guess not.
So, how have things been at the fortress?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone some changes, but this place is still more or less the same.
Other than that flying ship, it got a tad too much attention, I think.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes heroes. Am I right, Mr. Jurier? Miss Lurvine?
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your day in the sun. Not that you would want that, which is a pity.
I'll just leave the spotlight to you two.
Alrighty. News on the ground.
I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger, I'm not sure you remember, but his 3 young followers are still waiting for his return.
He's with his master now.
He sure did win them over, huh?
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine, and the bad being that they must face extended sentences for abetting his escape.
Oh, actually,
God.
what about you? Are things gonna
God, I
change
hate
for
when people
you
do
too?
that. Don't punish people for trying to escape. It's literally in human nature to do so.
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging along, and so will my duties. As to what Miss Furina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in the overworld.
Hey everyone, the photo shoot's done.
But I guess you don't have to worry about the giant sluice gate of Primordial Sea under the fortress anymore. Because it's not rising, I assume?
Good. In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go. Till next time, everyone.
There'll be a next time?
Oh boy.
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater factory next time. Until then. All right. Last stop, the docks.
Okay, I need to look at these two for real quick.
Here are the interview notes. They mentioned that the flying ship may have many uses in the future, and the journalist asked me what I thought of them. Seriously, how would I know anything about that? Flight is just flight. Whether people want to use a flying ship to broadcast good news or organize weddings is none of my beeswax.
A wedding?
Those two are totally a couple.
Why are you looking at me like that?
So the flying ship can be used for weddings?
I didn't say that. That journalist mentioned it, and what does that have to do with us anyway?
True. What does that have to do with us?
Oh god, those two are so insufferable. Anywho.
You know, I'd love to see you in one of Charlotte's photo shoots one day.
Is that really necessary? Our line of work doesn't really require much photographing.
It'd be helpful, though.
It's precisely because we don't need the picture that they'll have value as keepsakes. You don't really look all that opposed to the idea, you know.
Maybe I'm just happy that I managed to once again avoid the spotlight. I think this interview went well either way.
Yes, you successfully kept prying eyes away by using Mr. Jurier and Miss Lurvine as shields. Very good.
You should be happy for them. They have a bright future ahead of them.
And maybe wedding bells. Maybe. No guarantees. Those two are really weird. Where are we going next? All the way over here? Why are we going all the way over here? Oh, maybe that's because where Lenny Lynette, their home was supposedly out here at one point. Huzzah! That was a nice jump. Yep, Lenny and Lynette, and Freminette.
I didn't see them! They really are here! How did you know?
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the docks distributing these strange pockets the whole time since.
Traveler, Paimon. and Miss Charlotte, too.
Alright. The magic
Would you like a
handbags.
magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a bag that's bigger on the inside.
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them. Or you could trick a friend into doing it for you.
Trick a friend? I wonder which of my friends would fall for that.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by, I'll help you make some more friends?
Oof.
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
Sure. Please, write down my address.
Oh god. Poor
We sure
Freminette.
are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic shows.
Sounds like that would suit him.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself. In the future, I think we can leave underwater escape magic to him too.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
That is a good point.
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with the first step. He'll become a part of our show eventually.
Lynette, could you come over? Miss Charlotte says she wants to take a picture of us.
Yep.
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had something to say to you. So, how have things been, Traveler?
I'm doing alright.
Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful for your contributions to Fontaine.
That's alright. We were more than happy to help. So, what's she doing now?
She didn't get the Gnosis.
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. Well...
She got the Gnosis, didn't she?
After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's Gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
I knew it!
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, there were actually a number of things going for it. It could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
Well, that's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about. Doesn't this seem a bit irresponsible?
I don't know. I'm still kind of siding with the fact that the Tsaritsa's not the bad guy.
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems that Monsieur Neuvillette has had a significant change of heart regarding the matter.
So there's some reason for this that only Neuvillette knows about?
That's right. We, the audience, got to see the conversation between Focalors and Neuvillette. No one else did.
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which, I did see him strolling around the entrance to the Fortress of Meripede a while back.
We just fucking came from there!
Isn't he real busy and stuff? Paimon didn't think he'd have the time for that. But back to the topic. The Gnosis was given to the knave, right? What about Child?
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on his health.
Well, I guess I can now call him one of my war buddies.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with the Fatui. To think we'd be allied with them this time.
What do you mean this time?
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Oh, there she is!
Father!
Alrighty.
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the Traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine too much mind. I would have done them regardless.
Yep. I'm really glad you didn't turn out to be evil.
Are you going to take the Gnosis back to Snezhnaya?
That is our duty as Harbingers, yes.
Can I at least see it? I want to see what chess piece it looks like.
Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand goal in mind, it is inevitable that we must wear many masks. Switching my masks is something I've always done.
Will you keep to your position?
Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. What good is honesty if you can't rely on it forever? As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners.
Actually, I just remembered something. Please help us deliver this.
A vision? All right. I'll remember to return it. Thank you for keeping it safe for him this entire time.
Darn, I thought we would keep a hold of it to give it back to him ourselves, but it feels weird.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report to take a photo of you.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians and our upcoming rookie talent.
I will.
Oh boy.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant. I shall continue my walk while the weather remains so agreeable.
I'm glad we got to speak with her before she left.
Farewell, Father.
We didn't get to fucking see the Gnosis.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews. Thank you all. This'll be more than enough for me to write about, I'm sure.
Alrighty.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you take one too.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we first met too. And what do you know? I'm doing the exact same thing right now. So many things have happened, but the pockets are still the pockets. I guess this must be life. We will all follow our own paths, and serendipity will lead you to your fated friends. All right then. We'll be handing out pockets in some other districts later, so we'll get going now. Have a good day, you two.
Alrighty, are we still with Charlotte?
Well, guess we sent Charlotte out. Shall we go see how Neverlette's doing? As long as he's not so busy that he doesn't have time to chat anyway.
I didn't linger around so I could see if they have other conversations for me to eavesdrop on. Oh well. Look for Neverlette. Boy, we're just going every which way here. Can I warp here? I can. I can teleport to the Opera Epiclease. It still feels so weird the entrance to Meripede is behind the Opera Epiclease. It makes sense logistically, but considering how fucking far away the fortress is, it's really odd that it's there.
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there!
Oh, Hydro Dragon, please do not cry.
So, you really are here, Neverlette! Paimon didn't think you were going to have free time this hour of the day.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time to greet me earlier when he passed this way. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a meeting, so I may explain some things that I haven't had the time to before.
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered. Thank you for keeping us on your mind, what with you being busy and all. Alright, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saved? The whole business is still quite the mystery to us.
It's kind of depressing.
It is strange how words can often leave a bitter taste in the mouth when it finally comes time to say them out loud.
Telling you the truth concerning what he saw that day. Focalors deceived the heavenly principles and used Farina's endless performance to save Fontaine.
Whoa. So that's what happened?
I only saw Farina's part myself.
Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully fledged elemental dragon sovereign. But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontainians from dissolving.
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the hydro element. Fontainians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of mimics. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was first brought into being on this planet.
Interesting.
In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontainians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by water from the primordial sea.
It still makes me curious, like... So will all the people that turn into Oceanids just stay Oceanids then?
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving everyone.
You could say that it was the moment that Fontainians were truly born.
Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's wish to turn Oceanids into real people too!
I don't know if Celestia's gonna just stand by and take this lightly, though.
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask.
I guess that's problems for the 3.3 interlude chapter whenever we get that.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Alright, here's our normal 4 questions at the end about the initial verdict that was passed on Child.
I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There, by chance, he awakened the all-devouring narwhal. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. At most, he would have had tangential liability. As for the judgment passed by the oratrice during the trial, whether it was due to that liability by association, or Focalor deliberately using him to buy time for us on the assumption that he would be able to hold the creature off, I cannot say.
That second one was my thoughts, but it feels like a bit of a stretch.
Guess Focalor had Fontainians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally became real humans. Hang on a second. Paimon suddenly got another question. Back when Fontainians hadn't yet become real humans, were the children they had also transformed Oceanids?
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontainians would often come to the Fountain of Lucine to pray for children?
Yeah, Lynette said the fountain is where all the waters in Fontaine converge.
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom, but instead a form of ritual. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new humans in the coming months.
Paimon sorta gets
That's a bit of a stretch.
Either way, seems like this ritual won't be of any further use, but it'll probably live on as a local custom.
It still doesn't explain what would happen if, like, they had kids with somebody not from Fontaine.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Fontaine's future.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left. What's that all about?
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me, before leaving the Opera House. I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired and needed to rest.
She's gonna go kill herself, isn't she?
Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the Opera House, not unlike how an ordinary person might.
It's probably gonna get continued in her character quest.
But she's still got a place to stay, right?
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board, or travel. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit will, of course, take time to heal.
Probably longer than she has left to live if she's human now.
But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens and lead a normal life.
What Hydro Dragon.
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on, I shall hear cases and pass verdicts by myself.
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the Udex, huh?
As
Pretty
an
good
elemental
idea.
dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power and this duty, in a manner of speaking, you could say that both were granted to me. As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest judge. The duty of the Hydro Sovereign and the duty of the Udex shall coexist within my person.
Way to embrace the role, buddy.
Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House shall no longer produce indemnitium.
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith in the Hydro Archon, wasn't it? Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all still okay. Where are they getting their energy from?
That is a good question.
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I cannot quite leave Fontaine immediately.
Wow. This ancient dragon's authority stuff is really quite useful, huh?
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Alright, about Fontaine's Gnosis.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomatic gift or something!
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this crisis. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnosis. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need the Gnosis's power.
So even without the Hydro Archon throne, the Gnosis still has power? What the fuck is it?
As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary conflict.
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of gratitude to the knave and as an apology to Child.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
About the next stop on my journey, we're going to Natlan, boys!
You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell you what I know about that land. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of dragons.
Go on.
A nation of dragons? You mean like you?
It's meant to be the nation of war, I thought. So I guess that makes sense. They call it something other than the nation of war, because it's supposed to be the Archon of war, right?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons, such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Large numbers of them have entered a form of coexistence with humanity.
Interesting.
Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame.
It is a nation of war. Oh boy.
There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the Knave that I believe may be useful to you.
Capitano's there, isn't he?
The Harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously, everywhere you look, there's a Fatui Harbinger doing their thing.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, Fontaine's doors will always be open to you.
Well, I can't wait for the interlude, but before then, we'll have Farina's character quest to do.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
No more questions.
Hang on a sec. Paimon still got a question about the Gnosis.
Yes, what chess piece was it?
When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away the Gnosis had clearly changed. We guessed that there might be some reason for it that only you were aware of.
It has no power, right?
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. They are certainly sharp.
Yeah.
So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready to share something with you.
It doesn't have power anymore, does it?
What is it?
In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Okay. More stuff from Skirk.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on.
Oh, we're cutting back in
You
time.
hurry over soon as well, all right, Nervalet?
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer getting any interference. I can finally catch the scent of your power, what it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. It's quite a novel blend.
Kind of forget how tall Nervalette is.
I'm sure I've encountered something like this before. What was it again?
I do not know what you speak of.
Ah, of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third Descender on your person, yes?
The third Descender? The remains of? We're the fourth Descender, right? Or we're the fifth? I forget. We're the fourth.
Remains? I've never heard of any such thing.
Huh.
Descender lore.
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
So the gnosis are made up of the third Descender. Interesting.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me. But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
As a curse.
I've been training with my master, the Foul, ever since I was young. And I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, I got from him.
Who the fuck is the Foul?
It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is why there are so many problems in our attempts to communicate with humans. Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all turn to curses.
And Shaznaya's collecting these things.
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my personal thoughts. And my reason for no longer wishing to return to the surface.
This third Descender you refer to, who are they? And when did they die?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important for me to know. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I? He can be the messenger, then.
Interesting. We're probably going to get a Chapter 2 quest for Nervalette, too, if I had to guess. Or maybe this will be the 3.3 quest. Who knows? So much lore. We've passed the 5.5 hour mark.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or not, I wanted to pass that information on to you.
The remains of the third Descender? So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's remains?
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that is what she meant to say.
It's probably because they're the power of the third Descender.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the Fatui.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk by keeping it here.
She mentioned one of them. I'm the fourth Descender. For me, this information means two things. One, that the Gnosis are related to the Descenders, and two, that the one who came before me has already died.
I guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect you to be one of them. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third Descender. I wonder, does your body also possess similar properties?
Probably.
Like being able to use elemental powers without a vision. That does sort of count as special compatibility, right?
Makes sense.
No, let's not think about this stuff right now. It just feels creepy. Comparing the Traveler to the dead third Descender and all.
Don't worry, I won't die that easily.
That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck.
We're gonna have to talk about it eventually.
Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look for his master and get the answers that way.
I don't know how we're supposed to do that.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking. The same is true of being at court.
All right. Whatever the case, it seems like the crisis here in Fontaine's over for now.
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for this moment as well.
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she suffered through all those years as a human. Was that really what she wanted?
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will.
Can you understand the will of the gods?
I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will one day return to the earth as raindrops. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes tilt one way or another, but the rain falls fairly upon all. And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains that fall upon all of us?
Quest completed. Finale. Alrighty. I guess let's see if he has any more dialogue.
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Initial verdict, Fontaine's gnosis. Next up, no more questions.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself.
Okay, so that's nothing new. It just refreshes that. Alright. Well, I guess that'll be the end of our journey for now. And next time we can resume with Furina's character quest. And I guess after Furina's character quest, we'll probably be able to figure out what the hell's going on with her. And then we'll also be able to maybe explore those new areas. It's been Genshin, Genshin, Genshin the last couple streams. Next time I'd like to play something else. We'll do one more stream tomorrow of Genshin, and that'll be the last one for a bit. Because I have other things I would like to do, and I would like to play other games moving forward. But until next time, I will see you all in the next stream. Bye-bye.